gonna finish this list. Hey everybody, what's up? This is Retrokid Reviews. Not doing my roundup of Christmas haul stuff. If that video hasn't already been out, card 2. For most of the figures I got this Christmas. With that being said, there is gonna be a late edition. I'm gonna talk about real quick before we get to the end of the year lists. Yeah, I got Monet from, I believe, the Chode Wave. I see my previous review with I believe the Starjammer himself, Corsair, and obviously Emma over here, for that double review if I already done that, channel wise. So yeah, getting to the most obvious point, I did only open up, if you saw my Insta at the time of this recording, was Bishop from X-Men 97, mainly because realistically speaking, the only 3 figures I could probably do out of the 6 so far that I could do proper reviews of is him, Monet, and I believe General Grievous from Black Series, because I have never owned any Super 7 stuff, and especially Power Rangers Super 7 stuff, and I'm not kidding, I got really surprised with the Super 7 Deluxe Dragon Zord. So that's going to be a fun time unpacking and finding space in the shelf. So fingers crossed on me there. So with the Discord beeps more than usual, let's just get to the honorable mentions. If I could read through what I did. I already put a poll on the community tab for the best movies of the year. We'll get the movies list out of the way first, and then we'll get into the TV list. So for best, in the honorable mentions is going to still be D&D Honor Among Thieves, mainly because I put the poll up for what will be replacing the number 3 spot, which I will talk about in a minute. So in sub of that is now going to be Creed 3. Go to my reviews for both of them, those reviews. All my reviews in this list will be in the description down below, like always. So with that said, let's get to the proper list in total. For number 5, it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 5. I think this was the best out of Phase 5 MCU movies-wise. TV-wise will also be Loki Season 2. We'll get that when we get to that, where that is in the listing next video. So for the both of those projects, basically saving what little there is so far of Phase 5 is pretty much an understatement for the year, no more or less. So with that also said, let's get on to number 4 in the best list. It is John Wick Chapter 4. Holy shit, was this a good movie. Go to my review. I had more fun talking about my theater experience there. I haven't gone outside of my usual hometown into the other side of Brooklyn for, like, localized, style kind of theaters. And that was a really good experience, and I hope to go there again someday with my brothers-in-laws, hopefully next year. As for the movie itself, was a great way for John to pretty much end a good tenure of this character. For that being said, is there still rumors of Chapter 5? Yeah, of course. Will Keanu squash those rumors? Hopefully, I don't know. If they do it, I see why. Another thing I forgot to do, TV-wise, speaking of the John Wick series, I forgot to do my review for the Continental movies, show, mainly because it was a prequel series leading up to the original series proper. There wasn't really much to talk about, unless you want me to be really complaining about Mel Gibson being, well, Mel Gibson. So that's a whole thing there. So on to what is going to be the new number 3 for best of the year, thanks to you in the poll. Shin Kamen Rider. As the residential Toku guy with a bunch of figures and Nerf, this really spoke to me because this is the first, I'm going to say, only time I'm going to probably see a Kamen movie ever in theaters. I was extremely lucky to see it on a Regal screening. I think I mentioned it in the full review proper. So with that, I have to say, I still love the movie. I'm still very happy that it's still on Amazon Prime for now. For those who know in the Kamen Amazon side of things, that shit has a shelf-life, so please watch it if you can. As for the movie itself, for the last Anno-era Shin trilogy, Toku-inspired movies that he's done since Shin Godzilla to now, it still goes out on a more hopeful thought than you thought with the previous entries with Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman. Have not yet to see Shin Ultraman proper. I've seen the fan subs. I want to see a full translation or probably get a Blu-ray sometime soon. I'll probably do a I guess what was going to be my Is It Worth It series. That's my subdivision series I'm going to try to do for previous content or stuff I missed the last couple of years. Was it worth missing out? Was it I'm going to say right now, First Gen Ultraman, no, it wasn't. I should have done it when it was new. I should have said something new at the time. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We'll get to that when we get to that in 2024 content. So, for number 2 is Scream 6, and oh boy, did I pick a weird time to put this in the list. I won't go into too much detail for most of the voiceover and now the director situation when it comes to Scream 7, the movie that's going to precede this. I'll leave the news down below. I also obviously will leave, or in the cards, I assume, It's Too Early's podcast when they were talking about the whole situation that now that the director left. My apologies to them. And I honestly believe their opinions first before the studio had to make their judgment call with the current conflicts in Palestine. So that being said, back to 6 itself, it is actually surprisingly good. Go to my review, like I said. And, it was pretty much good for what little of a situational problems they had leading up to now the new one. For Melissa Barrera herself, who is now engulfed in all this, she has definitely doubled down. Not really doubled down, but like moved on from this, from what the previous the Scream 2022 and coming into Scream 6. There was some backlash there, and I think the writers kind of want to work around that in the meta sense. And it was actually not bad. For the killers themselves being the previous guy's family. Speaking of, I don't know if Jack Quaid ever did a cameo with like archival footage of like his childhood with his version of the character. My bad in advance if I got that wrong in the review. Ultimately for Scream 6, it's a good solid entry as usual. There was never really no bad apple in the bunch when it comes to the Scream series proper. Go to my retro reviews for that if you want to know more on that. On to number 1. No surprise, it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Wow, it's been a while. I got used to the into for a lot. Getting to the most obvious point, I have yet to get a single figure from either the 2099 set and for Miguel or even Spider UK or pretty much all the other figures. This is more of the Marvel Legends reviewer me comes in and says, wow, that's a lot of Spider-Man, even for a normal Build-A-Figure wave or any wave in general. So yeah, I'm gonna probably do my best to get like upgraded versions of like Miles and Gwen leading up to Beyond, which when even Beyond comes out, when they get Legends figures, they're probably gonna get upgraded figures too. So your miles may vary. As for the movie itself, yeah, the only biggest I guess gripe I think a lot of people have said is the cutoff and where you kind of see where the part 2 to be continued comes in. I understand that for people who was like, oh, there's gonna be a really cool sequel, it'll lead into like a new thing. I was like, no. It's a 2-parter. You could definitely tell. For the animation, it is all over the place in like the best ways. Like you could definitely tell people were sadly crunched. I will also say when it comes to the animation team, but in that crunch, you saw them basically doing their best stuff. I do not condone crunching in any way, shape, or form. I feel like most of this animation team was working from home during the pandemic, so they had no right to crunch them at home. That makes no sense. However, with any of the animation problems aside, the story itself was really good. I'll go to the full review there for my thoughts of it. Will I see Beyond coming up hopefully next year? Yeah, no duh, I'm gonna see it. So on to thankfully the worst list. No honorable mentions, not that I'm aware of, unless I want to put Aquaman 2 last minute. So yeah, previous review here as usual in case you want to see that. As for the rest of the movies, outside of Aquaman 2 in the honorable mentions, I'm still gonna put, I think, yeah, Indiana Jones and then the Dial of Destiny, because it's an honorable mention here. Yes, it is actually a legitimate bomb when it comes to indie movies in the past, but however, financials aside, it's still a better plot than Crystal Skull. If you want to measure it up to those 2 movies alone, Dial is barely going to edge it out, not by much, mainly because, again, the new director, which was James Mangold at the time. I still go to bat with that guy since his Logan days as a director, so there's still something there, but you can also tell that Disney wanted to wrap it up as quickly as they could to get, like, new potential, I guess, IP stories out of it, but I don't know. I won't dredge into it, go to my full review for that as usual. Now on to the actual worst list, if I could read almost any of this. Yeah, Ant-Man Quantumania at number 5. So yeah, on to basically probably the only entry until I wrote this list in the lead up to it like months ago. This was before the Marvels. This was before a lot of what was going on Marvel wise, budgetary wise, and basically how Marvel is becoming as of Phase 5. So it was really, even if I knew that Marvels was going to underperform, I still think out of the 2, I still think Ant-Man Quantumania did way worse. Not, again, because of the Jonathan Major situation of it all. Like I said in my community post, I made my best efforts to try to mention them the least in this list, and I think that will be prevalent here for the next three movies, because two of them I didn't see, and I kind of believe it, and the other two I had to see. And so starting off with the first of two that I didn't see but kind of believed, Expendables 4. Go to Jeremy Johns' end of the year review. He kind of basically convinced me not to see this. I wasn't gonna, regardless. The trailer looks okay. I just looked at the whole trailer fodder of Expendables 4 going like, we're still doing this? And obviously, even if I saw the movie proper, I probably would have told you that, yeah, absolutely, Jason Statham was carrying the movie, mainly because of his star power, mainly because he also had the Meg sequel coming out and Fast X. Speaking of, no mentions, and this is, again, years ago, not years, months ago, list that I wrote. None of this has anything to do with the Fast Saga or Fast X. I'm very much aware of what is currently going on with Vin Diesel's situation with a potential harassment lawsuit he has ahead of him that he may have had with a secretary back, I think, during either Fast 4, somewhere in between the years of either 09 and 2010. Basically when my channel was created, for those who don't know. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Gonna be honest right here. I'll leave the full description down below on the whole situation if you want to be informed. I honestly hope Vin takes some accountability to it. I know years have passed since then, and he's clearly looked like a better guy, but still doesn't mean he needs to take one in the chin when it comes to this kind of accountability. That being said, for Expendables, yeah, it's pretty much all over the place. Like I said, I think even with my Aquaman review, wow, this is a very interesting year for Dolph Lundgren to get more screen time than he usually does. So that's a whole side of the situation there. So yeah, on to the last three in the worst list. Exorcist Believer. I've already done a Exorcist adjacent review with the Pope's Exorcist, but the original series that inspired so many of those knockoffs, it did not do any better. From what I've heard, from most people who reviewed it, I think even Mr. Gigi, if there's still time in the actual cars there, that the first act is actually the strongest act, because that's kind of where David Gordon Green's people have kind of like centered around the whole hook of the movie, and then just kind of dive down from there. As someone who's tried my best to defend David Gordon Green material when it comes to the Halloween franchise, even if I saw this, I feel like my trust would have broken right then and there. It should have broken, obviously, when Halloween Kills or Ends. Maybe when Ends was happening, go to my review if I said anything about that, trust-wise. Ultimately, most of the trailer, even when I was watching it, marketing-wise, kind of looked like a plot they would have done right after Exorcist 3 in the 90s, before, like, the beginning and, like, that prequel era of them in the 2000s, most likely. Is this the worst in the series? Probably. Again, I'm not that much of a horror aficionado of the Exorcist series proper, so I'll try my best to look at it behind the scenes and then probably give better details as time goes on if this makes its other two movies that is also planned. Yes, this is also planned to do a trilogy. Oh boy. On to the last two. Getting to the most obvious yeah, DC entries here. For those who are keeping score, I've mentioned Aquaman 2 one too many times, and I have to talk about the other two movies that underperformed for the DCU's, I guess, final run as far as this year goes. Yeah, Shazam 2, what do I have said that I haven't already said in the review proper, as Jason go to as usual, or in the description for the full reviews. Yeah, it's still pretty forgettable of a sequel. It's sad that I'm saying that now. I'm months removed. I'm only remembering, like, the weird, like, viral videos that Zachary Levi was doing to market the movie and have that, like, a panic attack in between. It's kind of hard. If you have seen, like, the Honest trailer, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what you're getting at. That also being said, on to my number one for the year. Holy bull moly, or I'm trying my best to keep PG safe here, but let's be fucking honest here. It's The Flash. Like, despite me having one of their toys from the line, their Supergirl Sasha Khalil's version of the character of Kal-El, Kal-El. So, well, my bad. Don't know my Krypton names like I used to. Who knows? Anyway, that being said, that aside, there was really no excusing Ezra Miller's behavior leading up to this movie. There was really no excusing what they have done marketing-wise to this movie, and the fact that Miss Khalil and Michael Keaton pretty much did all the marketing and all the press tours and pretty much carry the movie on their back, just getting this to the finish line in theaters. Now, having said that, I really wish there was more time with Michael Keaton's Batman. I know a lot of people have probably said that, and probably also since the whole Zaslav cancellation of the Batgirl movie that was going to have very prominent more scenes with Keaton's version of the character. And getting to that George Clooney post-cred that you've all probably heard about. Yeah, long story short, he was subbed in for Keaton's version of the character because I think the original plan was to have him do another sequel with either any DC character post-Flash. The movie is still interesting if you could get past Ezra Miller of just basically being an origin story to a past version of Barry, but yeah, having seen this now a few months later, past Barry is the most annoying version of the character. Probably intentional, obviously, for Ezra to be like, oh, so that's what I sounded like during the early 2010s. Yeah, you did. But that's a whole other side of the story. Ultimately, that is now finally my top 5 best and worst movies of the year. I'm going to come back here next week for my New Year's resolution of doing all the TV versions. I'm going to be honest right now, the worst list is getting a little thin. But so is the honorable mentions, if I remember correctly, on either or on the TV side of things. So with that all being said, go to my, I guess, upcoming reviews of Monet and the X-Men 97, Bishop over here to see the previous, I guess, short and the Critical Role shorts. I'm taking a break for now until proper episodes come out, so the short will come out next week when episode 82 drops. Wow, I'm already ahead in the future. Speaking of the future, go to Bishop over here for probably my future review of either him or my previous video as well. Angel Grove shirt here. To sub the channel, hit the notification bell down below. And with that all being said, on the movie side of things, thank you to my family for a Regal gift card, because something tells me I'm going to be seeing some either banger movies next year or not a whole lot, but at least the gift card's nice. Until then, take care, subscribe, Happy New Year, and this is Retrokid Review saying, wow, 2023 was a mess. I didn't even mention Barbenheimer, which was actually okay. Surprisingly, I know, right?